Good evening and welcome to Left, Right and Centre, live from Mumbai. I'm Nidhi Razdan. We're coming to you tonight from a cafe here in Bandra on a day when the net neutrality story has exploded even further. Flipkart has been forced to do a U-turn after all the outrage for its decision earlier to go along with Airtel's zero plan. Well, today Flipkart has changed its mind completely. Will others follow suit? The question we're asking tonight is whether telecom companies have the right to decide what we as consumers should access on the internet. It's a debate that we're going to follow closely in the next hour. Also tonight, live from Mumbai, we're talking about the controversies of censorship, of bans, of the moral police that have hit this city. What has happened to Mumbai? Has this city lost its sense of humor? Has it in fact lost its spirit? Well, we're joined by three terrific comedians on the program tonight. We have the co-founders of the AIB. We have Tanmay Bhat and Gursimran Khamba here in the studio with us. And also tonight, Cyrus Broacha joining us live on the program. But first, the big story today has been Flipkart's U-turn after all the outrage that has been there across social media. In fact, from Flipkart's own customers who put immense pressure on the company. Now, they're denying that their U-turn has anything to do with that, but it has certainly been a turning point as far as the net neutrality debate is concerned. I spoke earlier in the day to Mukesh Bansal of Flipkart. Mr. Bansal, what made you change your mind all of a sudden and decide not to be part of this Airtel plan anymore? What happened?
I think we were evaluating this over the last few days. We tried to understand the ramifications of this. You know, as an organization, we very deeply believe in the principles of net neutrality, in the growth of internet in India in a free, democratic manner, which is non-discriminatory. So we looked into zero rating program and tried to understand, you know, what are the possible futures it can lead to. And at some point we felt that it can possibly create situations where some of the spirit of net neutrality may get violated. And really with that realization, we decided to not opt into this program.
Well, you know, you also faced a huge backlash from your own customers and you know, they were extremely critical of Flipkart's, you know, earlier decision. Wasn't that a factor at all in your U-turn?
No, absolutely not. I think it's really driven from two things. You know, one is just our own value system, what we believe in. You know, we are very deeply committed to internet being a democratic channel in the country. So Flipkart will not make any choices which violates that principle. That's first and foremost. And yes, of course, we are always listening to consumers. Flipkart is absolutely a consumer-first company. The entire company is built on consumer centricity. We have always taken decisions which are right one for consumers. So for us, participating in anything which can even have a remotest possibility of disrupting the principles of net neutrality is just not an option for us.
Well, finally, Mr. Bansal, the question then is, you know, you didn't think that the earlier decision was a mistake at all in hindsight?
There is no earlier decision. I think we consider all kind of services and will continue to do so in future. I think we do want internet to be very broadly available to all of India and at an affordable rate, where internet is like a utility, always available, always affordable, right? So that is something that we are supportive of in the long term, but also in a way where it is not discriminatory, where it can't lead to policies where there's a differentiation between different services or consumers or service providers.
All right, well, that was Mukesh Bansal speaking to me earlier today. The question is whether then Flipkart's decision will force others to do a rethink on this. Airtel has issued a statement, but is that statement going to fly with those that are fighting for net neutrality? And if you look at the TRAI's document on this and its consultation paper, some of the reasons and some of the questions that they have asked are, you know, really way out there. As I said, we have the AIB guys here with us. They are, in a sense, started off this entire debate in a big way in this country. Tanmay is saying, no, it wasn't us, trying to be really humble. But he and Gursimran are here, Cyrus is here. We've got Rajan Matthews, the Director General of the Cellular Operation Association of India, and also Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Member of Parliament from the Rajya Sabha, and TV Ramachandran, who's a consultant on policy and regulatory affairs with ASSOCHAM's National Telecom Council. Let me first ask you, Tanmay, This is a story that's been building up for some time. Then you guys decided to do this video to kind of explain to people what the story is about and why it's important. Did you expect it to catch on in the way that it did? I mean, it's got a tremendous response and now everybody's talking about net neutrality.
No, we never thought that it would be this big a deal, but the hope was that everybody would get involved because it concerns everybody. The only reason we made the video, I mean the primary reason why we made the video was because to make it accessible for everyone. If you notice the 118 page, the amazingly worded consultation paper, I mean the only bright side of the TRI consultation paper is that if you read it, you will be so much better at Scrabble. Like that is the only benefit that I got out of it. That's the only reason why we made.
But it's true. I mean, even for us, it's not like we are great policy. We are not policy experts. It's not something that we did. So for us, it that's why we every time somebody says that you guys started it, it's really not us
you
because
got a conversation going. That's important.
Yeah, perhaps. But I think what is being missed in this entire debate is that people and internet activists who have actually been working on this for so long. It shouldn't take a comedy group to make a video about it for it to become a conversation. So I think for us, even for us to make that video, a lot of the effort actually was, in the back end of all these internet activists and lawyers and journalists who had been working on passing this really complicated document so that it could be explained easily. We had to understand it first, and then we had to sort of communicate it.
The hope was to not let it get buried and just moved on. That was the hope.
Okay, Cyrus, where do you stand on this entire issue? Because what's also been interesting, apart from the AIB video, is that a lot of celebrities, not just the filmy types, but everyone sort of come out in strong support of net neutrality. And this has really become a nationwide campaign. NDTV is also part of this campaign. Cyrus, are you surprised pleasantly by the response that it's got and the way people have sort of come forward?
Well, you've already labelled anti-net neutrality, so now I don't have a choice. I have to go with that. Are you, Nidhi? Can you hear me?
I'm here. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah. Yeah, you've already put with anti-net neutrality, so I don't have a choice. I'll have to go with that. Otherwise, it look like NDTV is lying. I don't want that to happen. I have a partner called Kunal. We are more than friends, and he showed me the AIB video in the morning. And I love these guys. They're far more talented and better looking than us. But the sad part is I couldn't understand anything. And I'm told later it was in English, which is my primary language as we speak. So for me, there are two issues here. One is I think we all want a level sort of playing field and don't want to get swallowed up. Having said that coming from big boys like me and Tanmay, give me 5. Let's destroy the camera lens from either end. And the more important for me right now is to understand this is the only place left for freedom of expression in a sense, where all kinds of people get, the internet is the only place left for everybody to voice their opinion, say their thing, promote themselves, do whatever. So in a sense, we're hoping that it remains a pure and happy place and a democratic and egalitarian place, which perhaps mediums where I work more in are not so much. We have given rules and regulations like a menu card which we have to follow.
Yeah, I knew it's going to be really difficult to have a serious conversation with 3 comedians on the program. But let me just get Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar into this. That Mr. Chandrasekhar, today Airtel issued a statement.
One is a Rajya Sabha member, one is a Telecom Council member. They're not comedians. Don't you dare call them comedians.
I'm one of the comedians with you, as some might say. But Mr. Chandrasekhar, Airtel issued a statement today saying that, this is not a tariff proposition but an open marketing platform. Now, do you buy into the explanation that Airtel is giving on this? And I just want to tell our viewers that because it's Ambedkar Jayanti, there's a lot of celebrations and ambience noise coming from around us, so forgive us for that. Mr. Chandrasekhar.
No, I think you were talking about comedians and jokes, and I think what you just referred to as an Airtel statement qualifies as a comedy event as well. Telecom operators will try and spin this in many which ways, but the fundamental concept of net neutrality has been violated by what they are trying to do, which is that you cannot coerce or induce certain content providers from getting an advantage over others. And that is really the heart of the internet, that everybody and every consumer or every access provider and every content provider has the equal opportunity to demonstrate, to be available and to be accessible. That has been violated. Now, like we will see, these things will be spun in many which ways. But the fundamental thing is, as you cut through the chase, you will find that net neutrality has been violated.
But let me just get to the TRAI document, because that's the great part of this story. And Mr. Matthews, one of the important things that the TRAI document mentions is a point on cultural sensitivity and diversity, talking about that as an important challenge, that many of these players are located outside India. They may not be sensitive to the diverse cultural spread of India. And that's a point that you were making earlier on our channel as well. If you could enlighten us on what you mean exactly, because you gave the example of Saudi Arabia and China along with India, which I think, raised a few eyebrows, sir.
So first of all, Nidhi, I think in this whole debate, there's been more heat than there's been light, and there's been all kinds of obfuscation and all types of confusion of clearly defined terms. So first of all, let's understand what net neutrality means. Mr. Chandrasekhar has given his definition. Unfortunately, it has yet to be established what it is in India. Every country adopts its own definition of net neutrality. What it is in the US is very different from what it is in Europe, from Brazil, from Saudi Arabia to any of these countries. France, for example, Germany does go after entities like Skype and others. So let's understand that what TRAI has done is bring home this whole issue for debate and discussion and determine in the Indian context what does net neutrality mean. It's always in the context of India or in a country with its laws, its regulations and its cultural sensitivity. So that's the first thing. The second thing that has happened is that we have not clearly understood that zero rating is not part of net neutrality.
Please explain, what does cultural sensitivity
has made
mean?
a distinction between the two. The sensitivity means, for example, when you talk about free speech in India is very different from what free speech in America means. Here in India, upsetting religious sentiments and, creating friction between communities is an offense in terms of what you put on the internet and in the content. Whereas in the USA,
okay.
you have wider
So my
latitude.
question to you is,
He completely
how
disagrees with you.
many guardians are there for Indian culture in this country? Now you're telling me that the guy who provides me cell phone service will also start deciding what is right for our country and not. My only point is, can we stick to the agenda? Why does TRAI need to be bothered about what content is being consumed? TRAI's job is regulation. The job is not to decide what we're going to consume. It's a consultation paper. Let's be honest about it. You have tried to bury this. Let's just try to be honest about this.
No, but is that the problem, Cyrus? Is that the problem, that in the garb of cultural sensitivity, there are so many things, that in a sense you obfuscate the real issues with making cultural sensitivity an issue? I mean, what are the cultural sensitivities, Cyrus? Is this something that the TRAI should be getting into at all?
It's in the law. Forget about what TRAI
For God's
does.
sake, Nidhi, please don't leave cultural sensitivities and sensibilities to me to decide, because I'm left of left wing when it comes to all that. I'll just say this, that Tanmay is completely spot on. I mean, there are too many people telling us what to do. I'm so confused that at the moment we don't know what is right or wrong anymore. We've lost all sense of balance, and I think there's going to be a time when comedians are just going to come and do numbers as jokes. This is a number, 78, 84, because it's just, there's no end to it. We've satirized it, we've parodied it, there's just no end to it. And he's right, if everyone's going to point out, no religion, no politics, no mother, no father, no sex, no dog, no cat, there's just no end to it. So I've got a new job, and I asked Tanmay and Mr. Khamba to join me. Let's try doing something else, plying another trade. Now if you can get this inside this twice in a minute, you get $50 by law. So I'll keep doing this while you guys keep talking.
I just think it was really
Unfortunately, I'm
rich.
not good at this, worse than my
I
colleagues.
just think it was really rich that he said that they bought the conversation to the fold based on what the differences in net neutrality are. Like, let's be very honest, based on how they presented the consultation paper on the website, the last thing that seemed to be on their mind was, let's bring this conversation to the fold.
Maybe
It was, let's bury this.
The consultation paper was on the TRAI website. In size 10 is what we claimed, but I'm pretty sure it's smaller. Between 8 other links, above which there's a slideshow talking about how amazing the TRAI is.
Yeah.
Also, my question is, look at your audience here. Who in the TRAI decides what they're going to watch? They are half your age. When was the last time anybody from the government said, When was the last time you had a young person make a decision about what they're going to watch? When was the last time this happened?
No, Mr. Ramachandran wants to come in on this particular point. Mr. Ramachandran, would you concede that the TRAI's consultation paper has actually gone into areas which are way beyond its brief? I mean, it's talking about people's psychology being manipulated, the dangers of the internet, spyware, viruses in computers, cultural sensitivity. I mean, what does the TRAI have to do with all of that?
Great. Nidhi, thanks for giving me a chance. I'm not going to discuss the TRA paper because I've not read it fully myself. It's too big a document. I agree with that. I want to first compliment you and your people on showing us correctly that we are for pro-neutrality, net neutrality. Yes, I am for net neutrality. And I'm completely against discrimination, any lack of openness or transparency. Rajiv Chandrasekhar and I have fought for this for years and years, since 1998 or 1997. So we have always been against lack of openness or transparency or a non-level playing field or discrimination. So let's test. I think a lot of emotional statements are being made. I would like to test what we are getting here against these litmus tests. Number one, where is the discrimination? Is there any discrimination in terms of people accessing the internet? No. Once you buy a data pack, you all can enter the internet. That's the current way it works in India. I think there is no discrimination. Everybody plays the same. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. I didn't interrupt when you were talking. Let me talk. Okay.
Okay. Fair enough.
Go on.
Finish your point. Mr.
So
Ramachandran,
once you buy an internet pack, you get access. Everybody today, if I want to go to X, Y, Z type sites, I pay the same rate of charges, which is in terms of rate per megabit or whatever. And depends on how much I consume, I get billed. That's fair enough. And I think there is no discrimination there. You would all agree. That continues in the new frame, except that in the case of, say, in the people who get onto the platform, there, the subscribers who access one particular site, if he has got an arrangement with the telco, that look, like in a free calling, toll-free calling, you are having the same situation in toll-free calling for ages. The telco is there, the same telco is here, the end marketer is there, who is the content. Please don't interrupt. I did not interrupt you, please. Please listen to me. The marketing is there through the content provider. The end consumer is there. Here, what I see is a lot of posturing as if they are the netizens. Actually, I am the netizen. I am the end user. I am the individual. I am not standing for any telco. I am not standing for anybody. Now, the end consumer, if he is given a free access to, he doesn't have data charges for a particular site after coming into the site, so what? That is being paid by the particular application provider. That's marketing. That's competition.